Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome back to the UBEC Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Will Walnuts, the immortal one. And no one is sponsoring this show today. If you'd be interested, and if you have a product or a business you'd be interested in filling our sponsor slot with, please let us know or hit us up on Facebook, and we'd like to get you in there. And without further ado, the unholy one himself, the apostle, D-Rock.
So, how's your week been, man? I ask you that, and I'm not even going to give you a chance to talk. It's been a wild couple of weeks, dude. In the fucking news and just stupid shit that, I'm looking at all the world news, but then, my mind's also going to stupid corners of the earth and observations of things. So, one of the observations I've had is, I'm on Twitch. I watch Twitch a lot, and the gamers and everybody that plays on that. And it's like you have that lost culture, like that lost Japanese culture of like the children that just play video games and like they don't go outdoors at all. And it's like Twitch streamers in America try to emulate that. Like, I know they go outside and they touch grass and they do all this because they talk about it. And, they have like TwitchCon and they have a bunch of different things. They're always like, if you ask a Twitch star, maybe it's the difference. It's like they got that American money. So, especially like the affiliates and the partners on Twitch, they're making some pretty good money off their sponsors and everything and their subscribers. So they want to go spend that American money, that fuck you money. So, but it's like they all are like recommending ramen restaurants and shit. Like, who the fuck eats at a ramen restaurant? Do you?
No, but I know they're very popular.
You've never been to one at all?
Uh-uh.
I can't see myself going and spending money at a restaurant to cook something that I could make for like 50 cents at home. I mean, how much are you getting? How much are you spending for some steaming hot ramen at a restaurant? Like, you're going to spend like upwards probably at $10 for a cup of ramen. But I can make that same shit at my house. Like, maybe I should view eating out in general like that. Like, do I really need to go get a cheeseburger? Like, I can make a cheeseburger, but that's not the same. Maybe the ramen's not the same, but I mean, it's kind of hard to change up noodles. Why do you think like spaghetti at a restaurant's not like a top seller? Because you make the same fucking spaghetti as anybody else. Like, spaghetti's just spaghetti. It's just like a cheeseburger is a cheeseburger. Like, some of them, those Five Guys cheeseburgers, dude, they're just really good. Like, you can't make a Five Guys cheeseburger at your house. I mean, maybe if you're like a TikTok star or like influencer, maybe, if you're Mr. Beast, you can make some good burgers like that. But I mean, I'm not making a Five Guys burger at my house. If I want a Five Guys burger, I got to go get that shit. But I mean, some ramen, fuck you. It's like and I was thinking about this. Have you heard of Project Peter Pan?
No, I haven't.
It's and this is something you can't find it online. Like, I had a contact come to me about this, and it's some deep inside news, some swamp news. Project Peter Pan, Lamb's Knoll, right?
Yeah.
So Lamb's Knoll here in Maryland, everybody it's a missile silo. It was a communications beaker and like all kinds of different stories about what it was. But from this source, he's saying that, all the telecommunications and surveilling equipment was connected to a CIA program called Project Peter Pan. What they did was they abducted about 150 children from around Washington County, Frederick County, Allegheny County, the Western Maryland part of Maryland, the western part of Maryland, and they put them in the woods up there on the mountain, on South Mountain. So you have, and I mean, and the way I stumbled upon this was I was looking up like hermit people and like what it was like the South Mountain Hermit. I just typed that in, and then like one day out of the blue, I get a fucking phone call, dude. And this dude is like, he starts talking to me, and I was like, yeah, I'm from Boonesboro. And he starts talking about like the Lamb's Knoll. And I was like, what? Where is this going? And he's like, well, can you meet for coffee? And I was like, sure. So I can't give his name out. It's classified information. It's a classified top secret. But he said he has the documents. He's going to get them to me, and we're going to look deeper into this. But apparently, there was a tragedy that was covered up there, and they started this in, I want to say he said 1948 was when Project Peter Pan. So it was right after the end of the World War II. They started Project Peter Pan. That's when they constructed everything up there on the mountain between the 40s and the 50s. But in the 80s, so you got to think these children that they abducted became adults. It's kind of like a fucking Lord of the Flies in the flesh, dude. And there was because the trail runs right through there. They had a ton of hikers and through hikers that went missing, and it's unofficially dubbed the Massacre of South Mountain. So have you heard of any of that? Like walking that section of the trail, just like word of mouth kind of thing?
I've heard about some pretty crazy stuff happening on parts of the Appalachian Trail, and crazy stuff happening up there, Lamb's Knoll and Corkscrew, but no, I haven't heard anything about what you're talking about.
So do you think it's crazy that I'm just believing this guy? Like, I mean, because it kind of, when they had people up there, they were always in like unmarked uniforms. They didn't have any military insignia. Like it was all the standard same uniform, but it wasn't like any known branch of the military or government or anything like that.
No, so, I mean, but that could be because the complex was secured through like a third party private security contractor. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
If it is true, what do you think they were doing, those kids, dude? Like, did they just drop them off? And like, why would you even do an experiment like that?
What is the what was the stuff that Hunter S. Thompson took? And it's like a bunch of rich people, adrenochrome. You know how they can extract, they say you can extract the adrenochrome from scared kids. Like it comes out in like, I don't know if it's their sweat or whatever, but that's what a bunch of rich elite people, Illuminati, they drink this stuff to live forever. Maybe they're extracting this adrenochrome.
So it's like they send them out there, and then like every so often, like maybe they do something to like scare them shitless, and then they bring them in, and they just like a farm.
Yeah, it's like an adrenochrome. Have you heard of adrenochrome?
No, I've never heard of it. I mean, I've heard of it, but I've never like heard of it.
Look that shit up, man. It's pretty wild.
That sounds like some fucking Bohemian Grove type shit.
Yeah, it is.
It kind of is here, because like the first article, it's from Wired. It's the dark vitality of a Hollywood blood harvesting something.
There it is.
Blood harvesting conspiracy. And that's kind of like, isn't that the secret, like behind Bohemian Grove? They go and like worship Moloch, and they sacrifice a child and like to the owl god.
Yeah, it's very paganistic, their rituals. But then I did some more research into Bohemian Grove, and then I heard that it was just like a big like gay orgy, that apparently all these like old Republican senators and congressmen and governors, like they're secretly like gay or closet queens, and they're bringing these like like underage boys or underage prostitutes or kids off the street, and they were doing gay stuff in there. But man, who the fuck knows? Everything's all speculation. Nobody that was in Bohemian Grove has ever came out and been like, this is what happens there. Alex Jones was the only one to go there.
So do you think Bohemian Grove is like part of like NAMBLA?
Oh, I don't know. I think it might just be a good old boys type of.
Because you know what NAMBLA is, right?
I've heard of it.
The North American Man Boy Love Association.
Are you
it's
a member?
True thing. No, I'm not. It's a true thing. Listen, the North American Man Boy Love Association is a pedophilia and pedestrian. I'm not even going to try that. A pedophilia. We're just going to go with that. We don't need that extra word. Advocacy organization in the United States. It works to abolish age of consent laws, criminalizing adult sexual involvement with minors, and campaigns for the release of men who have been jailed for sexual contacts with minors that did not involve what is considered coercion.
That's fucked
What the
up.
fuck? How are they even allowed to be real? Like, how do you? That's part of like the whole just the what this country's fallen in, the degeneracy of this country. And it's like once you become okay with one thing, it's like you give an inch, take a mile kind of thing. And I don't know, like I don't understand like that to me. That's advocating for child abuse. Like that's not protected under the First Amendment, or is it? I mean, I guess we can have differing views, but wow, like what?
It's just another form of child sex exploitation.
Yeah, when that's you're okay with these, like they can't vote, they can't drink, they can't smoke, they can't fucking do anything, but they can make a decision on who they want to have sex with. I mean, I could make a decision when I was like 15 of who I wanted to have sex with, but whether it because you don't really have to when you're young, coercion, it's not even like it doesn't have to be like explicitly coercion. It's just the allure of being with someone older. Like that's coercive in itself. It's like you're a child still. You want to be an adult. You look up to adults. So that in itself, you trust adults more. To me, that alone is coercion because you've already got the trust because you're an adult. So I mean, you don't really have to work hard to get consent or anything like that. So I mean, just by you being an adult, you've already like you get what I'm saying? Like, of course a kid's gonna be more comfortable with an adult. Like that awkward fucking teenager sex, like two teenagers losing their virginity at the same like this shit's awkward. It's just weird. And that's the way it's meant to be. Or like even young adults that are virgins until they're adults, like there'd be like a dude that's like 18, fresh out, like getting with a cougar who's got fucking 4 kids and has been divorced 3 times. Like, what do you think his expectation of, a relationship, is going to be after that experience with someone that's fucking 20 years older than him? It's going to fuck him up even at that age. It's crazy. But Nambla, you learn something new every day.
I thought you were joking, or I thought that was like a joke, or somebody was trolling when they made that up. But that's actually like they're trying to be serious about it.
Yeah, yeah. There was the first time I heard about it was this book called Generation Kill. It's about first recon Marines going into Iraq during not Desert Storm, but Operation Iraqi Freedom or Enduring Freedom, whatever it was, the second Gulf War. So I watched that show, and there's this Josh Pearson. He was the driver for the convoy that, or the vehicle, the Humvee that you spent most of the time of the show with, because they had an embedded Rolling Stones writer with that platoon or whatever that squad. And he was like going on like a tangent one day about Nambla and shit. He's like, we're here just, he's like, he came up like this eloquent speech and like conspiracy about how George Bush and everybody wanted to invade Iraq so they could harvest young boys for Nambla.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, Nambla? I was like, that sounds like it could potentially be real. And I looked it up and I was like, holy fuck. That's a good show, dude. Just check it out sometime if you get a chance.
I've heard of it. I know what you're talking about. I know, and I heard about that Rolling Stones journalist that rode with them. He rode around with like the same platoon the whole time and got to know the guys real good. Isn't that what it was?
Yeah, yeah. Evan Wright's his name, the Rolling Stones author. But yeah, he spent a lot of time with those guys. It was a really good book though. Like I read the book and then it was a show and I watched the show also.
Does the show hold up? I mean,
Yeah,
was it
it was an HBO show, so they do a great job on war shows like Band of Brothers and shit like that. So
yeah, HBO rocks.
yeah, it was a really good show. Actually, I go back and watch it every once in a while. They actually had one of the Marines from the first recon that was with him during the invasion, and now he's an actor. Rudy Reyes is his name. He actually played himself in the show.
What?
Yeah, it was pretty neat. But yeah, those crazy ass Marines, dude.
Jarheads.
They had people like there's this one, I can't remember his name, but they had like their platoon sergeant or whatever, like he was a total fucking dickhead. And he's like, you need to police your mustache. And so the dude like fucking made a Hitler mustache. Because they have like, they have the strict, like it can't be on the corners of your mouth and like it has to be square and trimmed. So he just made a fucking full on Hitler stash. And he walks up, like the platoon sergeant's like looking at him. He's like, you think this is a fucking joke? But yeah, it's great. I don't know. They did a good job of like, I think depicting what it would be like. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't in the fucking military, so who am I to say? But just like people, a bunch of dudes that are like potentially putting their lives on the line and they kind of fill the time in and soften the anxiety with dark humor and like depreciating humor. Like they just cut up on each other the entire fucking time. Like it's one big shit talking show pretty much. There's talking shit to each other.
Sounds cool. I'm gonna check it out now.
Kind of like our texts back and forth. So what's new with you?
Not much, man. Not too much at all, man.
Shaved your beard.
Yeah, I had to get rid of it.
Why'd you get rid of it?
Just gets old after a while, it's almost like you gotta groom it constantly. Like once it gets past certain length, you wake up and it's all to one side and you gotta brush it out or it starts just looking crazy and it just gets old.
You shaved yours and I'm like sitting here not shaving for weeks. I mean, this shit is like way down here and I just haven't
That
felt like doing it.
that old picture that I sent you a few weeks ago where you were smoking that vape or that cigar or whatever, you had a thick beard in that picture. You
Yeah,
remember
that
the
was
one?
when that was like a half-ass beard too. Like I was probably like 25. I can grow it better now. It's still not like you've got that bushy ass beard. I can't get it as good as you. And your hair's darker. It's like your fucking hair's darker. And my hair's always been lighter and like almost blonde, especially in my face. So now that it's actually growing in thicker, the fucking hair's gray. So it's like, oh great, it's growing in thicker and it's darkening up a little bit. No, it's not. It's fucking turning white and gray. I went from like counting like one or two gray hairs on the side. Now it's like I have a whole fucking patch of gray.
We're at that age, man.
Yeah, no, it's fucking bullshit. At least I
Sucks.
guess, at least I got, some extra time. There's a lot of guys that go gray at like fucking 22 years old. So
Or what about the guys that go white like before they're 30? Gray is one thing, but when that's you ever seen I, I knew a girl when I was growing up, her dad, his hair went white. Didn't go gray, salt and pepper, just went straight up white by the time he was 30.
kind of like Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, yeah, Anderson Cooper hair.
Do you know what? Just because we know that he is a part of a certain community, I think that motherfucker dyed his hair platinum just all the time. It's just because, like, I don't know, it's a good look for him. I mean, I don't think I could look at him if he had like brown hair or black hair or something. Like, I'd be like, who the fuck is this dude? But it's like,
Makes
how long you been dyeing that shit, buddy?
He's trying to look older and more distinguished.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's on a big news network, CNN, especially at the time whenever he started, it was still a pretty respectable news outlet. I mean, it's still respectable to an extent, but no one's watching their fucking programming anymore.
Speaking of news, as of now, the shooter of the judge in Washington County is still on the run. They have not found him yet.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts, dude. Like, do you think they're gonna find him? Do you think he just because the last known location of his vehicle was in Williamsport, right? Right by
Yeah,
the Potomac River and the C&O Canal.
Bottom Road. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how to say this without sounding like an asshole. So I'm not gonna say it. Um, But what are the chances that, maybe he had some connections? Like, I don't know anything about the dude. Like, they have or he had his Facebook profile like pretty much locked up. So you can't I can't really find much about him. I don't know if his ex-wife has come out and given any statements or anything. So it's kind of hard to get a profile on the guy. I'm sure the FBI and the U.S. Marshals and all that, they have a pretty good profile of the guy. Like, do you think that he's long gone, nowhere in the area?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many theories out there. One is that he had an accomplice, or he met somebody down there at Bottom Road that picked him up. But I'll be honest with you, this reminds me a lot of the Gabby Pateo case. Do you remember that one? What was it, last summer, last fall? Blonde-haired girl and her boyfriend went on that road trip out west, and he killed her, came back to Florida, and then ended up killing himself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, to me, this seems a lot like that. Like, I think this whole thing was very spontaneous. I think he found out about the court ruling, and I think just maybe he was drinking, maybe he was doing drugs. He could have been on coke, he could have been on anything, and he just spontaneously, or thought about it for a lot of the day, but just out of emotion, went out there and he shot the judge and didn't know what to do. And I think it's possible he either shot himself and he's just laying out in the woods dead somewhere, or he could have drowned himself, man. Could have drowned himself out in the river. But the only thing debunking that theory is the river's not very deep right now. And in most places in this area, you could probably walk across and it'd be like ankle or waist deep. So I know you can drown in 6 inches of water, but let's be honest, he was a grown man. So I
Yeah.
don't know. What do you think about those theories? Or do you have a theory besides
I'm If he shot himself, like the thing that keeps me, or killed himself somehow out in the woods, the thing that stops me from believing that necessarily is the fact that they have dogs and everything out looking for him. And I mean, his vehicle's right there, so all they have to do is bust into the vehicle, get a scent from that. I feel like that would have been like the Gabby Pateo or whatever her name was in Florida. I think his parents were harboring him, and I think it just like the wall started closing in around him, and he's just like, I can't let my parents go down for this either. And he just fucking went off and off to himself, and because I mean they found him pretty quick. Like, he wasn't like decomposing and shit, was he?
No, I don't think so.
Like, it was a pretty fresh kill. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like if he killed himself and he's still like in the woods, they would have found him. I don't. I feel like there's someone in on it.
Somebody picked, if they don't find him in this area, somebody picked his ass up, man. I'm telling you. Somebody picked him up. He's originally from Guam.
Yeah, so that's what I'm like. That's where I was gonna go. Like, resourceful, man. They like boats and shit. Like, how hard would it be for him to just flee to Guam? Even if he still has family there, like it's a lot of back doors that he'd have to go through to get there, but it's not inconceivable that he could do it. So it's just, I don't know. It's horrible. I mean, Maryland's a pretty 50-50 state too. So for him to lose custody, there were already some questions about the guy. There was probably some sort of domestic violence involved.
He had a history of abuse. He had a court
Yeah,
record proving it.
exactly. So, I mean, you don't just like, I get what you're like, maybe he just woke up, he was under the influence. No, the guy is a violent person, you know, and I mean, I think, and I don't think you were saying that he's not like, I don't think you're like, it was a crime of passion. Like, I'm sure he was enraged and just, it's like, fuck this, I'm going to kill this dude. Like, he maybe wasn't thinking right, or maybe he was. That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe this is just his constant state of mind. And one day it was going to happen to someone, whether it was the judge or, someone that looked at him the wrong way in a parking lot. Like, he's a violent person to begin with. Like I said, you don't just lose custody of your kids in the state of Maryland. It's a joint custody heavy state. They like to keep the families as cohesive as possible. So if there's no violence, no abuse, maybe the parents don't get along, but that's not really important as far as having both parents in the kids' lives. You're separated for a reason. So they try to keep like it's equal rights. It's not like some states are more for the mother. No state out there I think is more for the father, but so I mean you don't just lose your kid. So maybe he thinks that he was wrong, but maybe he should have thought about his actions prior to getting divorced, and maybe even during the divorce. Like, I don't know. We don't know like the whole history of it. Like you said, you can look him up on case search or whatever and find his history, but it's still, that doesn't paint a broad picture. You know, I don't know. The dude he's unhinged anyway. So
That's what I was thinking too. I think he's just a naturally unhinged person. And
what's his,
people,
what's his name again?
something AGO
Pedro
AG
Argote.
Argote. I don't know. Is that one how you pronounce it, Goite, or because
I don't know.
I think
Damn.
it's
Okay.
ARGOTE.
So this one is 4 hours ago. NBC New York. Manhunt expands in search for suspect with ties to New York City area accused of shooting Maryland judge. So I guess they're, researching connections in New York and everything too.
No shit.
Anyone with information. They have a $10,000 bounty on him. A reward for information leading to his capture. $10,000, like that's, I don't know. It's not much of an incentive.
I was gonna say that's not much at all. The guy shot a fucking judge.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was like, 10,000. Like when I seen it, because I seen that earlier, I was like, what the fuck is this? $10,000? Like,
Yeah, for those of you that don't follow the news or this area's news, there was a Washington County Circuit Court judge that was shot Thursday evening around 8 o'clock, and it was a case. The judge resided over a custody battle, and he ruled in the mother's favor, and evidently the father was the shooter and shot him dead in his driveway, shot the judge dead in his driveway, and then fled, and he has not been found yet as of now.
well, it's national news too. Like it's on CNN. It's on Drudge because that's where I look at my news, like my national and shit. I use Drudge Report because it has like a listing of everything, and I seen it on there. They had like 3 or 4 articles. Pedro Argo. I'm looking him up on case search right now. Let's see. Yeah, 6/12/2022. Defendant, domestic violence. It doesn't say, they don't give much information away on the domestic violences. He was divorced, or his wife or whoever, Eugenia. She filed for divorce 6 days before the domestic violence case. So she filed for divorce. They served him, and he was like, "Hold up, bitch." And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's most likely why he lost his kids. Here's Montgomery County Circuit Court FX. I don't know what that is. And that's United States against Pedro Argo, civil court. That's $10,000, probably back taxes, something like that. And then the other one is CN. That's open. That's just looks like he's being sued by a credit company or something.
He might owe money to a credit bureau.
He could, maybe Equifax.
I hate
Fuck
that fucking.
Equifax.
I hate that fucking commercial, man.
Dude, Equifax, Experience, TransUnion, like all these, they all have fucking like massive data breaches all the time. And they're still like going to banks and telling banks that, yeah, you can give them some money. It's like, bitch, you can't even protect my data.
Dude, I get phone calls from TransUnion like all the time.
Do you? What do they say?
Just ask me how my day's going.
They ask you if you like your coffee with creamer.
Just, hey, what's your favorite color? Did you watch
Did you
Sesame
see?
Street when you were a kid?
Did you see we were tagged on Facebook by organization in Nigeria?
Me?
Yeah, like our UBEC podcast page was
Oh,
tagged.
no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I went in there and a lot of people were like not commenting, but they were like hearting it and everything. It was like a women empowerment post or something for kids, like girls in Nigeria. And
Yeah.
I made sure I told him, I said, we're not a Romanian rock group and we don't have any connections or affiliations with Nigeria, but we support your message. So I figured we'd let them know that we're standing up for them, even though we don't know who the fuck they are.
I was gonna say, dude, you could be like, you could be supporting some like Nigerian warlord that cuts off heads and shit like that.
You know what? It's in Nigeria.
You probably just supported the oppression of Nigerian women.
Well, that's not what the article or what the post said. So maybe I did. You know what? It's not my country.
Did you ever see the Vice documentary about it's the cannibal African warlords and all these leaders of these different tribes, and dude, some of them are only leaders for like a couple weeks till they get taken out, but they have these names like General Osama bin Laden, General Terminator, General like Saddam Hussein, and the reason they do it is because they think it's like tough and scary, like General Terminator, and the kids were calling him General Terminator and shit. These guys are fucking crazy, man. They eat like beating hearts and all that. You got to check it out, man. I think they're Nigerian warlords, but I know
No,
the one
it's Liberia.
Liberian warlords. Yeah, cannibalism is still very, very popular around there.
Damn, that's like a documentary.
Yeah, it was. I watched the whole thing. It was great. I used
It's
to
like
I anything Vice would put out back in the day, I'd watch.
Vice used to be awesome. They're going bankrupt now.
Vice used to be the shit. One of their best documentaries was the North Korean documentaries, and they did a series of them. Like they did a few of them, but man, they are great.
Vice is a perfect example of go woke and go broke.
Yup.
Because like once we're gonna get shredded for me saying this, but once Gavin McGinnis left and all those other guys were forced out, Tim Pool and all those guys, that's when it just went down the drain. And that's what people don't realize. Like it wasn't like pro left or pro right because Tim Pool was like in fucking New York during the what you call it? What was that shit they did? The protests on Wall Street. What did they call that? The one percenters and all that. Do you remember that shit back in like 08, 09?
Yeah, I remember it, but I don't remember what it was called.
Because that's where little Timmy Pool got his start, was covering that shit.
Little Timmy.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's like Vice and all that. Like they're more libertarian and like they just get painted as like extreme right wingers, like extremist MAGA conservatives. Okay. Like they're really not. They had great content. They questioned everybody. That's what made it so fucking entertaining. Was it's like, what are you gonna get this week? Like, are they gonna go after George Bush? Or are they gonna go after fucking uh the crazy climate guy, Al Gore? So it's like it was refreshing, and now it's like so hardcore to the left that they're fucking bankrupt. You know, you got to pay for your fucking people to like not work and be productive because it's like you don't want to be like a corporate overlord and you give them too much money for pay and oh it's okay, just take all the time off you need. We don't need to write articles or create like entertaining content or anything. We care about your mental health here at Vice.
I also heard that Vice got bought out by another company, and this other company is one of the many companies that's owned by BlackRock. And they're saying that's why Vice started leaning more left and left and left and just kept going. Because you know about all those stipulations that BlackRock sets about, I don't know. I don't even know where to start with that, but I'm sure you're familiar with what I'm talking about.
Well, it's not just it's It's ESG, environmental, social, and governance.
That's it. Yep,
And they're one
exactly.
of the companies. Like, that's what people don't realize. Like, we sit here and we can talk about Democrats, Republicans, Bush, Cheney, fucking Mitt Romney, Donald Trump, Joe Biden. We could talk about all this until we're blue in the face, but they're every 8 years. That's what people don't realize. There's a new one every 4 to 8 years. Senators, they live for 80 years. So even them, they're expendable. Like these companies, BlackRock, and it's the ones that are even above them, the Rothschilds, all that shit, the Bohemian Grove, the IMF, the Council on Foreign Relations, all these, those are the puppet masters. So we all get so caught up in like being never Trumpers or never Bidens and arguing about this silly shit when the companies that control the world have these environmental, social, and governance scores, and that's how they control the companies. Like I heard someone talking, I think it was on the PBD's podcast. They were talking about it when like the Bud Light was going through this whole the whole Bud Light thing. And I think he was talking to Mike Baker on that one. And they were saying, oh, I bet she won't have her job. And I think PBD was like, oh no, she's going to get a promotion from this. Like, it doesn't matter that they lost billions of dollars. Like their ESG score was low, but that campaign raised their ESG score because they don't give a fuck about the money they earned. Like they have an agenda to push. And that's what this whole ESG shit. But yeah, like in Vice, I mean, everything, unless you're a legitimate small business, everything's owned. And they're trying to do it even with banks. The way that and we've talked about it before with like Kanye West and like and in Canada, how they were freezing the GoFundMe's and the bank accounts for the people that were supporting those truckers in Canada. So they're trying to pull this shit with banks. Like you don't, like it's the social credit score. Like China has. And I mean,
we've talked about that social credit score before. They're trying to make like that like the worldwide norm,
And that's like, yeah, it's the social justice on steroids. It's scary times. Alex Jones been talking about it for 20 fucking years.
Yep.
Longer, but he's really been hammering that social credit score really ever since I started listening to that guy in like late 08, early 2009. And he was talking about it even then, like the social credit score. And he's like, don't believe it, it's coming. And then slowly they start fucking trickling it out.
And that's the truth. You had me listening to Alex Jones. I think I started listening to him in 2012. And a lot of people have said he's like an op because it's almost eerie. It's creepy how right he is all the time. And sometimes it's only like he reads a headline and doesn't go into any more detail. And then 10 years from now, you remember that headline and now the real shit's coming out from it. So sometimes he just gets little bits of information that don't really mean anything at the time until the big thing comes out. But I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. And I told you, I'm trying to stay away from the politics. That man is a fucking national treasure. Okay. He really is. And I don't even know if he's going to be around much longer because now they're saying that he can't file for bankruptcy, or his bankruptcy cannot get him out of paying his 8 billion now he has to pay. And
it's something crazy. And that's like, how is that even fair? Like,
yeah.
Like, what are you, like, you want to talk about Donald Trump, like faking the assessments or exaggerating the assessments on his properties? Or you're exaggerating the net worth of somebody and levying an unfair fine against him. Like, how much emotional distress did he cause to 26 different parents to warrant 1 point whatever billion dollars? Like, how much does that split between? That's bigger than the fucking Powerball. That's bigger than a group of office people getting together, 26 office people, and going in for the 1.5 billion Powerball. Like, they hit the fucking lottery. Well, they're never going to see a dime. Whether they say he can't file for bankruptcy or not, how much money are they really going to get? I mean, can't bleed a fucking turnip.
Right.
Like, but that was never, the money was never the end goal. You know what was? Silencing him. Because you bankrupt him, you take all his money, how's he going to have a show? You ruin his company, you ruin his reputation. You know, but that's part of like where I didn't like listening to him was when he was saying shit like that about the Sandy Hook and all that, like planned school massacres and shit. Like, I think the police action is fucked up. I think there's signs that they miss, but everybody was saying this about Israel. Everybody says it about 9/11. We could all debate that, but you know, it's at the end of the day, it's intelligence. And everybody thinks that like the CIA and the NSA and all these government departments have this huge like picture of what's going on in the world, but it's really just it's Alex Jones. It's bits of information, and you have to connect the dots. And sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's right. So I mean, it's hard to predict what's going to happen. Like if they follow every lead that they get on an act of terror, they'd be running in circles. So it's like, how do you vet it? What do you? But I mean, he should have probably hit the brakes a little bit. Alex needs a guy that's in his earpiece that like can actually get him to shut up. He needs like a Roger Stone.
Oh no, Roger's worse, man. He needs
Well, yeah,
somebody
that's true.
he needs somebody with serious restraint, man.
And someone that like he listens to. They just come in there like, okay, Alex, you're going a bit off the rails right now. We need you to tone that back about 5-10%. Take it back. Okay, we're right there. You're good. Don't say that the kids deserve to die. All right. We're good, Alex. Go back to what you were saying. Just kind of stay on this path now. He needs someone like that.
I watched this behind the scenes with Roger Stone when he was getting ready to go on Newsmax, and the guy he was talking to on Newsmax, I can't remember who it was, might have been Craig Kelly. He was like, Roger, he was like, just do me a favor. He's like, cut the pedophile stuff out. Okay. No more of the Hillary pedophile. He was like, Roger's like, I'm sorry, but the facts are the facts. He's like, I can't not talk about the facts. And that's what I imagine that would be the same response you'd get from Alex. He would just, I can't not talk about it. I have to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Roger Stone is a smooth talking motherfucker, dude. I listened to him on one of these podcasts too. I was just like, I can see he's like a little fucking slithery snake.
Oh, dude, the amount, I guarantee some of the shit he's seen in DC and those parties and balls and galas and everything. God, you don't even want to know the shit that man has either seen or probably been involved in himself.
When he never gets like really riled up either. Like he always kind of keeps that even. Like he gets animated a little bit, but like, and I'm comparing him, I guess, to like Trump or someone like that, where they're like super, or like Alex Jones, where they just start going off the rails. He kind of always keeps that like even keel. He talks a little faster and he gets a little louder, but it doesn't like make you think like this dude's a fucking psychopath.
That's because he knows losing your shit makes you look vulnerable, and that's the last thing he wants to do. He doesn't want to look weak, doesn't want to look vulnerable.
He's like the perfect politician.
Have you seen the exchange between Fat Boy from the Young Turks, Alex Jones, and Roger Stone? Alex and Roger crashed the set of the Young Turks one time, and all three of them got into it. And Alex Jones ended up getting like tea or coffee spilled on him, and Roger Stone was yelling at Fat Boy from the Young Turks, and he's like, the blowjob, the blowjob, the blowjob, talking about Bill Clinton getting sucked off by Monica Lewinsky. And finally, Fat Boy from the Young Turks, he's like, Roger, this is not your show. And Alex, this is definitely not your show. Get out of here. It was so funny, man.
Is it Cenk
I don't
Yerger or whatever his name is?
I don't know. I don't know who Fat Boy is. I know I see him a lot on that Young Turk. He's like the Alex Jones for the left, you know?
Yeah, let me and I'm going to share it with everybody just mainly so you can see it too, but just to make sure I know who you're talking about, because I've got something interesting that
And Roger Stone is doing the cough like bullshit thing the whole time. He's like, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit while he's talking.
That's awesome. This guy?
Yeah, there you go. There's Fat
Yeah.
Boy.
That's Cenk Uygur or whatever. I don't know his fucking name.
I never knew his name, but I've seen him a lot.
So he's running, and I made a Facebook post about it, but he wants to run because he's not a natural born American citizen. So he wants to run for fucking president, and he said that once the Supreme Court sees the outstanding amount of people that want to vote for him, that they wouldn't be able to deny changing the Constitution to allow him to be president.
Jesus Christ.
Tell me that dude is not fucking delusional.
What a sociopath.
And I was like, so I tagged him in the fucking post too. I was like, dude, do you really think the most conservative or one of the most conservative Supreme Courts we've ever had is going to change the amendment to the Constitution to let not only a foreign born country or person run for president, but one that's a social fucking Democrat that is further left than even like he's more like the AOC kind of thing, isn't he? He's probably fucking. Yeah. I'm not gonna say. I don't know if he's religion, but
he's far left, and he's big supporters of the Clinton family and Hillary Clinton back when she was running against Trump.
Yeah, he was on MSNBC and shit too. And then he went to Current TV and took Keith Olbermann's place. Keith Olbermann's a fucking douchebag too. I could have fucking killed fucking Sports Center whenever or ESPN whenever they moved him there. It's like, oh great, now we get to hear political commentary. It's like Stephen A. Smith on fucking steroids. I don't like Stephen A. Smith either. Fucking douchebag. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's like because I'm kind of like a Stephen A. Smith kind of like, I share my opinion, I don't give a fuck. So people that are like that, it's like, shut the fuck up. So I'm telling myself to shut the fuck up.
They don't want to hear other people's opinions.
Yeah. Well, which I'm okay with. I just might disagree. Yeah. See, he announced his candidacy in the 2024 Democratic presidential primaries. Wow, he's eligible to run. That's so fucking stupid in itself. He's eligible to run, but you're not eligible to serve. So why the fuck even allow someone to run? Like, to me, that's the perfect way to sway an election. You know, if you want like Russian interference or something, let's just fucking send over a couple operatives, you know, from like Russia Today or the Young Turks. So what if he's a fucking, you know, he's a Turkish intelligence officer or something, and he's just trying to throw the fucking election? I think we should open up a whole fucking committee and investigate it for the next 8 years. Waste the taxpayers' money. But yeah, he's a fucking tool. I'm gonna have to look that video up later and watch it.
You got to. The only thing is, nobody got any really good footage. So it's one of those videos where you really got to listen to it and make sure you know who's talking to get, you know, the full story on what's happening. Super funny though. And I think Alex Jones, towards the end of it, somebody comes up and splashes their tea or their coffee right on him. And then you know how he is. Someone just threw tea on me. I have tea all over me. That man just threw tea. You know how he gets all dramatic.
Sir, this is assault. I know you don't care about that because you voted for defund the police. But this is assault on an American citizen. So you've seen it here. You know, they want to, it's okay for them to be violent. It's okay for them to be aggressive. But when we do it, it's wrong.
And that was exactly what he was doing, man. I think you might have even said some of the stuff that he was saying during that, but it's so funny, man. Check it out. If you find a video that is short and to the point, we ought to play it on the pod next week.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up and see if they have like Cliff Notes version of the video, because the one I pulled up, it looked like it was about 10 minutes long.
It's long.
So or maybe I can get it and just save it and clip it up in like the best parts.
Yeah, because the one that I saw, man, it showed everything. It showed them storming onto the set. That Cenk was on and showed them yelling. Like, I mean, Cenk was in the middle of broadcasting and they just interrupted right in the middle of it, man. It was so funny.
Is it as funny as the time that Joey Diaz goes off on the Alex Jones show? Have you seen that clip? Joe
No, I
Rogan took
haven't.
Joey Diaz onto the Alex Jones show, and it was back before Jones really even cussed on the show and shit because he was still syndicated.
Yeah.
And fucking, I think that's where I got that clip from that I sent you, where he's just like, "This is America. Ask the Pilgrims. We got our dick sucked." And like, but he's on Alex Jones' show, and he's just like, "These motherfuckers don't care about you. They don't care about me." He's like, "So that's why I just say bust a nut." And he's like, it's classic Joey Diaz just going off the rails. And Alex Jones is like, you could see the panic on his face, and Joe Rogan sitting there fucking rolling, dude. He's laughing his ass off.
I'll have to look that up.
And it's probably like one of those things like Alex Jones was probably like, yeah, bring Joey. He's cool. He's cool. Bring Joey. And Joe Rogan's probably like, yeah, you sure? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. You know, we had dinner the other day. He's great. He's great. Bring him on. And it's like, and then Joe's just like, fuck it, man. Unleash the fucking demon because you can't control Joey.
You asked for it.
Yeah, like, yeah, exactly. One of those things. Like, do you really know what you're signing yourself up for? Because, and I don't even know, like, I don't know when Joey got sober, but that's because, man, could you imagine that motherfucker on cocaine? He's probably the dude that cocaine calms down. Like, he's the dude that does a line, he's like fucking paranoid and he's real quiet. But then when he's like sober, he's just, yeah, cocksucker, I fucked your mother in the bathroom. Joey Diaz, man. Joey Diaz, Alex Jones, and some of those, like the Young Turks, it's so hard for liberals to be outraged and like super angry. Like it's just not, it doesn't have the same passion to me as like an Alex Jones. Like, because the Young Turks, like you said, he tries to be like the left's Alex Jones, and it just falls short. Like, Alex Jones is the fucking man. It's like you said, he's a national treasure. And for you, those of you that don't know who he is, good luck finding him. Go to Rumble and look him up on Rumble. But for me to be able to, like, I've not seen this video that Will's talked about. And you heard Will, he's like, he probably actually did say something like that. Like, I'm not a casual fucking Alex Jones listener. I've been listening to this dude. I've got like a whole personality profile on this motherfucker.
You
That's why I
know,
stopped listening to him though, because you kind of like, you listen to him so much, it's like you kind of know where he's going. So it stopped being like, it's the news part of it's interesting, but it's like his reaction to the news. It's like, yeah, I've heard this 1,000 times.
I'll tell you what, in a lot of ways, I think he's always been underground because I remember when you first told me about him, like I said back in 2012, I actually had trouble finding somewhere to listen to the episodes until I stumbled upon some weird app through the app
Yeah.
store. And then here it is now. We've come full circle because he's still hard to find. Like he's never been vindicated. He's never been on the front page of any major media source for good reason, of course, but I think that's why a lot of people don't know a whole lot about him except for what they hear just recently
Even
the
if
past few years.
everything that he came out with was true 100%, they still wouldn't, because that's the establishment at work. They're never going to give him any credence.
Right.
Like it's just, they've spent so much time denouncing the guy that they can't turn back now, even if he's right about everything, which is sad because, he's given his life to this. But I don't know. He's a great dude. I enjoy him.
Huh.
So, got some more news?
Yes, I do. We talked about the Switch last week for those of you that are just tuning in, and we were speculating on what the Switch 2 is going to be like, and we were also wondering how long the Switch we have now was going to last. So this article kind of pertains to that, and we'll start this off. Nintendo Switch 2 to release on September 24th, 2024, with two models priced at above 400, and this is a rumor, and it states in the article. And isn't that about how much you said it was? You thought it should be priced?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the smart way for them to go would be kind of like how Xbox and even Sony did it, but Sony's both of their options for the PS5 were outlandish price. But yeah, I think that's a smart move if they do that.
Discord user Soldier Delta, who provided information and screenshots showcasing Team Ninja's Rise of Ronin a while back on the Snitches server, revealed that the new Nintendo console, whose internal name is NG, is targeting a September 2024 release precisely on the 24th. The console, however, may also be released during November 2024, as there's apparently a placeholder for this window. Additionally, 2 models will be available at launch: a standard model that will retail for $449 US, and a digital only option that will retail for $400 US.
That's still the wrong way. I think even for we're I don't know. Some people still like it, but I don't have any fucking physical games, dude. Like they just, I think the companies, all of them, should either figure out how to go, because the way internet, like almost everywhere around now, is getting fiber or that Starlink, that super fast satellite internet. So an emphasis on streaming or more memory, not memory, but well, yeah, memory, like storage capacity in the systems. So like, how long have we had fucking 1 terabyte systems? Like that's your highest that you could get on a PS5. It's the highest you can get on an Xbox. Fuck, most of it, like Starfield's 125 gigabytes. You have what, 7 games? And then their bloatware for their store and shit. So I mean, I think like if that's the way they're like gonna go, even with a digit or even with a physical, because people that still get the physical games, like, come on, man, give us like some 4 fucking terabytes, or give us a 1 terabyte SSD, but give us like a fast transfer hard drive that you can store your games on. Like give us like an 8 terabyte hard drive that you can transfer to the SSD. Like you can move your games back and forth, because like Starfield, you can't play that off of a hard drive. You have to play it off an SSD, a solid state. So like that's what I'm saying. Like give us some options here on the fucking storage. But I think they're going the right way. I mean, $50 isn't really a huge difference. Like $50 just so I can go buy your $50 fucking or $60 game cartridge or whatever that you're gonna have, and it's gonna be this stupid fucking Nintendo exclusive thing. Like, I mean, at least with like you couldn't like cross play them, but at least they were discs. Like, I don't know, this fucking thing that they did with the Switch was so stupid.
It was a step backwards.
Yeah, it's like the fucking GameCube, or is that the one that had like the tiny little disc?
Yeah, GameCube.
Yeah, that was like, the fuck is this? Like everybody, like it had like the appeal, like the what do they call it? It was like an oddity almost. It felt futuristic, but then everybody was like, "It's fucking stupid. Like, why'd you fucking do that?" Like, and it's always been the same, like since the GameCube and shit. Like you had Sony and Microsoft pumping out, higher quality graphics and everything, and here's Nintendo just lagging behind with their cartoonish classics.
Well, they do little things and like little alterations with their systems and hardware and software that they think is innovative, and sometimes it is, and then other times it's just a complete misstep. I mean, what they thought was going to change the game really was the thing that put them back compared to what everybody was putting out. I mean, I think even back during the Super Nintendo days, those were cartridge days. Sega was already trying to figure out how to put their stuff on disc, and eventually did with the Sega Saturn, but it was like Nintendo wanted to have no parts of that. Little did they realize Sega was on the up and up, because everything went to disc format after that, and still pretty much is.
Well, that and the console game like Mortal Kombat and Sega's willingness to be a little more brash and like adult friendly, even like Nintendo wanted to stay, and that's why Nintendo's still a system for kids, and that's what the shame is. Like a $450 system, unless they've got some serious processing power in it, and if it's going to be a handheld again, I mean, that's a low end Steam Deck, which the Steam Decks, they were innovative because they were the first one. But then you had like Asus that came out with theirs. And I mean, that's an $800-900 handheld. It's like it is a handheld PC. So it's like your entry level. Like, what graphics are you going to get with that? And that's where like Nintendo, like, wouldn't it be great to have a system like Nintendo where it is like an all in one? Maybe that's what they should try, because people are willing to spend money on these systems, especially like for me. So say it's a system like that my kids can play, I can play all my stuff on it, you know, things like that. Would you spend a little more to have one console? I don't know. It's just there's just no. I played the Switch, but then it's like the games that I would play on it, I'd play on the PC or like play on an Xbox or play on a PlayStation. And it's like even a PlayStation 4, the graphics and everything are better than the graphics on a fucking Switch.
I'll tell you what, to go back to your question, I would totally spend the extra money to buy a console that has more features. I mean, imagine if you could boot up your Xbox and be able to play. Maybe you can. You can't play Steam on Xbox, can
No,
you?
no.
Well, okay, so then there you go. Imagine if you loaded up your Xbox and it was like a Microsoft Windows format to where you can go to different apps, you can play Steam like you would on your PC, and that's going to be the next step. I mean, consoles are just going to virtually be PCs, which PS5 pretty much is anyway. And the only limitations are the wars and the digital software wars. Microsoft doesn't want to have this on theirs, and that's why Steam, you have to do that from a PC. If it's like if they could figure out a way to bring everybody together and make one great console and everybody gets a piece of the pie, that's the way to go. And I think consumers would pay more money for it. How many people do you see going out and buying $2,000, $3,000 PCs? Well, for
Oh
good
yeah.
reason. For good reason. Look what a PC can do. It can do so much more than what a console can.
But if you can bridge that gap and have like, so say the Xbox Series X is what, like 450 right now, give or take, $50. So bump that price up to about 800. It's still cheaper than a gaming PC that you can run like really like you for a gaming PC, you're going to need a 3 series GPU or better. So it's not, and allow like find a way to do licensing or something from Steam, from Epic, like these PC companies that are primarily like PC games, to where you can integrate it to an Xbox, but it's a little more expensive. The graphics are a little better. It gives you that cross play ability. But I mean, that's what sucks. It's like, because I have Far Cry 5, but I bought it on the Steam store. So I have the game, and it's like I got the Ultimate Edition or whatever, the deluxe edition of it. So it's like the best part of the game of the year or whatever it was that came out. So I have that entire game on my PC, but I can't play it on my fucking Xbox. There's a way I can do it, like backdooring, like I can do like screen sharing or like remote play or something like that. But that's more convoluted than it needs to be. But or even if you don't do it to like, so say you open up access to Steam, the Steam store, but you can't download their games, but you can play it like cloud play from an Xbox. That would get you people right there. And for the people that can't afford a gaming PC, a 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. I mean, the fucking possibilities are endless with these things. I mean, you have graphics cards out there right now going for like $2,000, and that's just one component in a computer. I mean, you can dump 10 grand into it, like build a super gaming PC. But have something in like middle of the road. It's not as, well, I wouldn't even say an Xbox Series X is crappy, but it's not like it's the bridge between a gaming PC and a Series X. So someone that has a little more money and they want to play Steam games, like the Series X, you wouldn't be able to play that. You wouldn't be able. You have to get this more expensive, and all they'd have to do is tweak it a little bit. But that's what Switch. I think if Switch really was interested in coming out, but I don't think Nintendo's interested in being a player anymore. They're not viewed as competition from Sony and Microsoft, and I don't think they view themselves as competition. I feel like they feel that they're their own little niche, kind of similar to like PC gamers in a sense.
Right. I agree with
So
that.
I don't think that they're so 450. I mean, it's a next gen price, so it's reasonable, but I think they could do. And I don't know what they're saying it's going to be or how it's going to work, but I feel like they should really take a page out of what Asus did and the Steam Decks and these handheld computers, and kind of try to make something unique and creative with that. Or maybe they find a way to integrate with Steam and Epic, like I'm saying Sony or Xbox should do. Maybe Nintendo takes that initiative, say, hey, we host Steam games on this handheld device, you know? But what do I know? I'm just a guy on the fucking internet talking. You think that's a problem with some of these companies though? It's like these huge companies, they're so cut off from like the average person that they don't like. And because I hear a lot of people that talk like this, you know, and with ideas and everything, and they're so cut off from reality that we end up getting like this piece of shit system. And it's like the fans are like, what the fuck? Like, this is what we could do. It goes back to like Bethesda. That's why I have more respect for Bethesda, where people bitch about Bethesda. Bethesda believes in their fucking community to allow modding and shit like that. Like, listen to your fans, listen to the people that buy your shit. But it's all like, oh, we know best. We're the executives. We know what works. No, your fans do. The people that buy your shit knows what works for them.
Well, we're definitely have to keep up with that. We were also thinking, uh, talking to the audience, not you, but you and I were going back and forth about a segment we were going to do, like the lifeline of the Switch, because we talked about, or I asked you last week, I said, is the Switch dead? It's like, no, not quite. And it's like, well, what we might do is periodically, we might just check up on the console and see how it's doing. Is it still releasing newer titles? I mean, obviously, with the new Super Mario Brothers coming out, what was it, yesterday? Well, there you go. That's a big deal. But how long is it going to be, or is there ever going to be another one like that, a Nintendo only exclusive? I'd be interested to see, and I'm also interested to see what their new system's going to do. So we're going to keep that in our wheelhouse and hopefully go back to it. Now, another article that we covered, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, the guy that ate all the peppers. Remember that? It was like 183 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
The guy that had the two first names. I can't remember what it was. It was like Nick Jack or something like that.
Nick Jack? What kind of name is that?
I don't know. It was something Jack. Remember that? But I don't even have that article anymore. So apparently the Guinness Book of World Records is declaring a new world's hottest pepper. Before it was the Carolina Reaper. So the Carolina Reaper has met its match. Chili Pepper X has captured the spicy record as the world's hottest. Guinness World Records announced on Monday. The new pepper rates an average of 2.69 million Scoville heat units, according to the test performed by Winthrop University in South Carolina, beating the previous record holder, the Carolina Reaper, which averages 1.64 million Scoville units. The Scoville unit scale to measure chili peppers' heat was developed by American chemist Wilbur Scoville. Let me see what else I have here. We covered the genetics. This is a quote. We covered the genetics. We covered the chemistry. We covered the botany. Curry, the creator of the Pepper X, which has a rating of 2.69 Scoville heat units, name the hottest pepper in the world. Well, we've covered all that. So yeah, the new guy is the Pepper X. Beat out the Carolina Reaper. What was the other big one a few years ago that everybody was always talking about? It wasn't the Carolina Reaper. It was I can't
The
remember what it.
scorpion pepper or the ghost
Yeah,
pepper?
the ghost pepper. There, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Dude,
what do you think?
aliens are watching us like we're fucking ant farm.
Well,
They're
yeah.
just like, what a we could cure cancer.
Huh.
We could this dude spent 10 years creating this fucking pepper with the singular goal of it being the hottest fucking pepper in the world.
Crazy thing is, man, as hot as that Carolina Reaper was, it crushed it, and it's at least almost 2 Scoville units hotter than the Carolina Reaper. So this is not a pepper you want to play with.
I wonder if anyone's eating it.
I was
Has
wondering
any
that too.
We're about to Google that shit. Has anyone eaten Pepper X? Curry is one of only 2 people to have eaten the full pepper, alongside Danish musician and veteran pepper eater Chili Claus.
Mm,
New Pepper X, hotter than law enforcement grade pepper spray.
Jesus.
Man, fuck that. Like, that's what I'm saying, though. You could cure cancer. You could cure dementia. This dude's been sitting in his fucking basement laboratory like Dexter and fucking making a hot pepper. Like, what do you want your life's work to be? I don't want a Nobel Peace Prize. I want to fucking make a hot pepper.
I can't wait till we see the TikTok challenges, the Pepper X challenges, and all that other shit. Pepper
Man.
X, hottest pepper in the world, no reaction.
Immediate brutal heat. Let's see. I don't know. Like, there's not much out about it yet. So it's coming, though. I guarantee it's coming. Unless they're not going to be able to release those seeds. Hey, you know how they have that fucking seed bank in like Switzerland or whatever,
Yeah,
or wherever it is? So for whenever the end of the world happens,
the vault.
what if like someone as a practical joke replaced all those fucking seeds up there with nothing but Pepper X seeds?
Oh god.
First off, peppers, like hot peppers especially, are some of the hardest plants to grow. Secondly, once you get it and you start seeing a flower, you're so hungry. You get your little fucking raccoon that you killed with your fucking spear. You're sitting there making your loincloth out of its fur. You're grilling that bitch up. You put some of that pepper on it. You take a bite and you have to spit the whole thing back out. Or you end up eating it all and then you shit fire for like 3 days. It burns so bad in your mouth that you get fucking sores. You end up getting a fucking infection from the sores in your mouth because there's no antibiotics and you fucking die. You lived all this time to cultivate this plant, this one plant that you thought was going to be your saving grace, and you fucking die from an infection caused by the heat.
That's dark.
Wow. That's a hot fucking like that. Where is the enjoyment in eating something? Like the Carolina Reapers are right on the edge, dude. Like for enjoyment. Like I'm not going to eat the fucking pepper itself, but like the Carolina Reaper wing sauce and shit like that, like that's right there on the border, dude. It's so fucking hot. Like
Yeah,
it's almost not enjoyable.
but it's not the same though, Dustin, because with those sauces and shit, you can look on them, man. They always add sugar to them,
Oh yeah.
even if they're trying to be the hottest in the world. It's always not always, but it's mostly an ingredient. That's just to give it a little bit of flavor. That's nothing from the real pepper. When you eat it with the seeds and everything, oh
Yeah, exactly.
God,
You're not getting like concentrated pepper juice.
no.
Like and I don't see the enjoyment of eating something that goddamn hot. Like why would you do it?
It's a macho thing.
I guess, man. If it could make you like trip or something like mushrooms, maybe then I could understand it. But even then, it's like, it's just hot. You're just like fucking trying to claw your eyes out. Like, maybe the endorphins afterwards, like the adrenaline rush from it, maybe that's what they get the kick out of. But yeah, fuck that. It's not for me.
This is my thing when it comes to really spicy foods. I want flavor, I want to be able to taste something. If I'm eating Diablo Fire hot wings, I mean, you take the first bite, you're not tasting anything after that, man. I mean, it's so hot, it just consumes you.
Yeah, you want it as a flavor enhancer, not something that just drowns everything out. That's what I liked about the Carolina Reaper because it still had it was a unique taste from like a regular buffalo sauce or something like that. It had its own unique peppery kind of, and it was hot, but it wasn't like I can't fucking think straight hot, and that's what
Well,
this pepper sounds like.
I'm probably gonna sound like a pussy, but my favorite hot sauce is the Louisiana hot sauce that they used to sell. Used to come with Popeyes, but you can find it anywhere. We sell it. Uh, Dollar General has it, but it's not the hottest in the world. And like I said, you're probably gonna call me a pussy because of it, but it has a very unique kind of sort of Cajun flavor. But there's rarely a time when I'm just going to dump hot sauce on it just because I really, really want something spicy. If I'm going for something hot, it's because of the flavor. So you might be different. I mean, you like that real super hot shit.
I don't buy a lot of it. Like normally when I get hot shit like that, because I don't eat it a lot, it's when I go somewhere to eat. Like I don't want that shit just sitting in my fridge just because I don't use it like that. But, or if like I'm find a recipe for something and then I use it just for that and then it sits in the fridge. But yeah, I'm not like super into it either. The Louisiana is good in a pinch. It's not my favorite, but I like Frank's. I put that shit on everything.
Yeah,
I don't really
see,
put it on everything though.
and again, Frank's has a certain type of flavor. Is it the hottest one out there? No, of course not, but it has a certain type of flavor. When you get Frank's, you're getting that flavor. When you're getting the Louisiana, you're getting that flavor. But then once you go past a certain threshold, your flavor's
Yeah.
out the window. There's no flavor anymore.
See, where Frank's has more of like to me, the difference is like it's a little more vinegar to the Frank's
Yeah.
than the Louisiana. Louisiana has more of almost like a Tapatio, but there's a little bit of a difference from that even, or like the Cholula sauce.
No, you're right, man. You're pretty much dead on now. It doesn't taste like the Cholula sauce, but yes, you're right. It
Yeah, it's
has.
just there's slight differences to them all. You know what's really good is Cholula, I think, or maybe it's Tabasco. They make a jalapeno sauce. It's green. That shit's fucking
I,
delicious. And
I think I've had it before.
that's not as even to me, it's not as hot as like a Tabasco or like a Louisiana or
I've had it before, and the great thing about that sauce is that it has that beautiful jalapeno flavor. It just gives that. You
yeah.
know what I'm talking about. There's nothing that tastes like a jalapeno.
So that's what I like. That's my favorite pepper to eat. Like I like fucking jalapeno poppers, like the ones you make yourself wrapped in bacon, jalapeno poppers that are deep fried. I like all jalapeno. Like we make like a jalapeno popper kind of casserole deal, like cream cheese, jalapenos in it, and chicken and shredded cheddar all mixed together. But I mean, it's just jalapenos are fucking great. And they're hot. Like you can get some hot fucking jalapenos. Those fucking dark green tiny ones that are filled with seeds, but they're not, it's never going to be something that's like extreme heat.
True or false? Jalapenos will literally complement anything fried. Am I right or am I wrong? I mean,
Anything fried, grilled, anything. The only thing jalapenos aren't going to complement is like boiled.
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you could put it in a stew or something, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but then it's gonna end up getting like soggy and shit. And I'm for one like pickled jalapenos and shit. So like whenever we've talked about this before, I think like whenever I go somewhere and they have like the jalapeno burger, I ask them, I'm like, are they fresh or are they pickled? Because I don't like pickled jalapenos.
See, to me, they don't bother me at all. In fact, when I cook here at the house, I use a lot of pickled jalapenos. I don't know what your problem is with them. I think they're good.
Just something about that fresh crunch from the fresh jalapenos. It's the texture thing. I don't like soggy vegetables. That's why I don't like tomatoes, because they're like, even a fresh tomato is like a soggy fucking vegetable. It makes me want to vomit. I literally vomited in my salad bowl when I was like 8 years old. Like my stepmother was sitting there and she's like, "You need to eat it." And it's like, on top of the fucking nasty tomatoes, she put like Catalina or French dressing or something like that on my salad. And it's like, I don't like tomatoes. And then I have to eat this fucking nasty ass tomato based dressing on it. And I was like, I'm going to throw up. And I kept like, and then finally it all came up and went in that salad bowl. It's like, I told you, I didn't fucking like tomatoes. They make me sick. It's a what the taste too. They taste like puke to me. Just, it's nasty. But it's like, it boils down to that. Like, I don't like canned green beans. I like the frozen green beans that you steam, or the fresh ones. The fresh green beans that you get out of the produce section, you steam them bitches up real nice. They still got that crunch when you eat them. That's good.
After hearing about other people and their preferences, I realize I'm probably the most non-picky person in the whole fucking world, man. I mean, I will eat goddamn anything.
Yeah, I'm pretty picky eater, dude. But I mean, it's like, I'm not going to come to your house and be like, you serve me, like, you make steaks and fucking something else. Like, if it's something that I don't like, I'm not going to eat it, like asparagus. But if it's steaks and like fucking green beans, but they're canned green beans, I'm still going to eat them. Like, I'm not going to be totally disrespectful, but like, if I'm buying my fucking groceries, I'm going to eat what the fuck I want to eat. Like, you know?
Uh, you ready to go on to the next article?
Yeah, sitting there judging me.
No, I'm not judging you. It's just I don't know. It's just funny to me, man, when I hear about people that just don't, they don't eat this, don't eat that. And I'm like that to a certain extent. I'm not going to eat anchovies on my pizza. I'm not eating like gel flight fish or whatever that shit is in the jar. You know what I'm talking about? It's kosher.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, fuck.
Like, a vegetable to you is just a vegetable. Like, green beans are just green beans. Like, you don't care how they.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty
Like, you're
much.
gonna get the 50-cent can of green beans
I'll probably be just fine with it.
and have high fucking blood pressure from all the sodium and shit that's in it. And
Well, come on, sodium's and everything now. You can't get away from that.
it's not in them frozen ones.
It is. It's still in there. Not as
Mm-hmm.
much. I mean, canned food's just notoriously high in sodium.
Yeah, see, so I'm preserving my body.
But I mean, as far as preference goes, steamed, canned, yeah, I mean, I got to be honest with you, I don't see much of a difference. But
You don't have one that's better.
maybe that's a poor reflection on me. Maybe I just have no taste.
You're just not cultured. You're uncultured swine.
It could be that. I mean, to me, it's like green beans are green beans. Well, these were steamed, these were canned. I was like, oh, I'm gonna eat them the same way I would either way. I mean, yeah, I'll probably put a little bit of extra butter, maybe a little bit of extra salt and pepper, but that's me,
So
brother.
what you're saying is you're just a basic white bitch.
I'm just saying I'm not. I guess I'm not as bougie as you are.
I'm a
I guess
bougie
I,
white bitch.
I guess I'm not as girly as you are. I don't eat that. That's gross.
Fuck you.
You just called me a basic white bitch.
I don't remember that. So
All right, you ready to go on to the next one?
yeah, come on, Paris.
Well, I don't really have anything that would pertain to what we've just spoke about, so I guess this will just be a new paragraph. But Japanese researchers create an MRI scan that reveals what we see in dreams with 60% accuracy. And I will go on to continue. Japanese scientists in Kyoto have made strides in reading dreams. Led by Professor Yukasu Kamatini, volunteers described dream images after brief awakenings, creating a dream database, which was then categorized individual groups. The team then used this to achieve. The team then used this archive to match MRI scans that achieved a 60% accuracy rate in predicting images from your dreams. So, what do you think? Doesn't look like they're actually, you know, being able to see what's in people's dreams. It's just, I don't know. What do you think of this?
They've
Before
been
I
doing this
say,
for a long time.
have they?
Like in Japan, yeah, because the articles I'm getting, because I just Googled it.
Yeah.
There's some articles even back from like 2013. I guess that's when they found the way to do it, but like they've perfected it and everything. It's pretty cool. Isn't like aren't dreams like a huge part of Japanese culture?
I don't know about that. I know they're a big part of Native American culture, but I'm not sure about Japanese. Probably.
In Japan, dream is considered the basis of faith in which it functions as a tool of the ritual of the sacrum. Dreams affect not only the people, but also the gods. During sleep, the soul leaves the body and moves on a journey beyond the barrier of the underworld.
Damn.
So, yeah, they're pretty deep in dreams.
I didn't
That's why
know
them
that.
kids like playing them video games over there, eating that ramen. 2023. Where's the article that you got? Where's it from?
It is from, let me see here. It's from Yup, That Exists.
Super credible. MRI that reads your dreams. Oh man. The first the the first thing that I see on Yup This Exists, uh, they tried to get me to sign up for this newsletter. What's happening today? Sexual AI queries, cars that can be mailed to you, MRI scan that can detect your dreams, and more with a rocket.
That cars that can be mailed to you is real, man. That's
Carvana.
yeah, my cousin, he actually just ordered a car and it's on the way. It's it's pretty crazy. I'll have to let you know what happens after he gets it, or if it's everything that he wanted or what.
I feel like I'm gonna get a virus from this site.
Yeah, you probably are. My laptop's getting ready to shut down right now because of it.
It just took me to a different website. So they're just hosting news articles that they find interesting. It looks like
Yeah, it
yourstory.com.
it took me to like an animal porn site.
That it was it a donkey farm in Mexico?
I'm not really allowed to describe what I'm looking at
I
right
just kind
now.
of wanted to read over it a little bit too. Over 200 iterations because that's like you've seen Inception, right?
Yeah.
With Leonardo DiCaprio in it.
Yeah, and it's a Nolan film.
Dude, I'm fucking obsessed with that movie. I've watched that movie probably like 1,000 times. It's just so interesting. But like as we are able to see the dreams, when are we going to be able to? Because lucid dreaming is already a real thing. Like I can do it to an extent, and like, and for people that don't know what lucid dreaming is, it's where you're asleep and you're dreaming, and then in the dream you realize that you're dreaming and you can kind of manipulate it a little bit. And
Yeah, you can control the situations in your dreams,
yeah,
whereas when you're actually dreaming regularly, you're almost like in the passenger seat.
yeah, like your subconscious has the wheel, and you don't really know you don't know where you're going to go. Um, so I mean that's what like as we study the dream and we understand what is in them, and that's also like dream recall, like because people say you can learn from your dreams too. Like people keep dream journals, and like it's just what the thought is that dreams are just like pretty much a mashup of your thoughts from the day and everything. It's kind of like your brain's disk defrag, where it just kind of goes through data and everything that you've thought that day, or maybe it was you've seen something that reminded you of something that happened 20 years ago, so that night you have a dream of your fucking grandfather. Because I still it's crazy because I still have dreams of my grandfather, and he died in 1996. I was 8 years old, but I still have dreams of this guy. So I mean, it's just so cool to be able to like, you're going to make a bunch of dream junkies. So people are going to be laying there dreaming, recording their dreams. And that's what you're going to bankrupt Netflix.
I'll tell you what, one of the most interesting podcast episodes that Joe Rogan ever did was the one that he did with Matthew Walker, the sleep expert. Did you see that one?
I don't think I have.
It
I have
came
to
out
write that down.
it came out years ago, man. I think it might have been even as far as like 2017, 2018. But, this guy is exactly what I described. He has a doctorate in whatever they call, the term for dreaming, and some of the information and knowledge that he was talking to Joe about was just incredible. Like, what dreams are, and the real scary thing was how most of the world is just so sleep deprived it's not even funny. But you got to check that out, man. I mean, he is one of the most interesting episodes I've seen, and it goes into depth on dreams and meanings, what they are, how they work.
I
It's
might have
some of it.
watched that one, but I don't remember it. So I'm going to go back and re-listen.
He was a guest that was like a lot of others that are on the Joe Rogan Experience, where after they're on Joe, then they're with everybody. Like Lex Freeman interviewed him after that, and then I think the guys from the Concrete Podcast interviewed him. So I've watched him a lot, and he's a really interesting guy. Matthew Walker, Dr. Matthew Walker.
Do you think Joe just sets them up because he likes them, like Lex and all those guys, and like Andrew Huberman? And
Yeah, I think so. But speaking of
he's just
Lex,
like he texts Lex and he's just like, hey dude, just interviewed this guy. He said he would talk to you. I'm going to send him over there. Just give him a call.
and you know what was funny about his relationship with Lex is, dude, I saw one episode he did with Lex when he brought Lex on his show, and dude, he fucking mistreated Lex so bad. Like, he was just dogging him on all kinds of shit, and it was like every time Lex would say something, Joe just kind of belittled him, and it was so funny, man. They must have just a strange relationship, on and off the pod.
I think that Lex is kind of like an Elon Musk kind of character though. Like he's he's a nerdy guy. He's like deep in that 4chan kind of lifestyle, and like he's like that nerdy dry humor. Like he's so fucking smart that like humor to him is on a different level. Like you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's MIT smart. I mean, guys like that don't laugh at the things you and I laugh at. I mean, they laugh at
No,
stuff that we hardly understand.
he had what's his name? Fuck, Bethesda.
Oh, John Carmack.
No, no, the
Oh,
other
I'm
guy.
thinking it.
Fuck, what's his name? Man, I just said his name last week. How the fuck did I forget that? He's like the CEO of fucking Bethesda. Lex Friedman. What the fuck is his name? Todd Howard. He had him on a couple weeks ago, like right after Starfield came out. And they were talking about like the old ass Skyrim games, like the ones that came out in like 92, 93.
Oh yeah, those are that's old.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. Lex, he's hard for me to listen to. I like him. Like he's
You're
interesting.
you're talking about the original Elder Scrolls series. That's what
Yeah.
you're
What the
talking
fuck is
about.
that? Elder.
It was like turn-based shit, man, almost. Or
Oh,
not
yeah.
point and click, I mean.
But they said like their technology back then that they had Daggerfall and yeah, the Arena, all those Battle Spire, but they're like cutting edge with the graphics. But I mean, they were all PC games too. So I mean, you could do more on a PC than you could on a console. I mean, 8-bit,
Exactly.
16-bit video game cartridge isn't going to hold the data, but the fucking floppy disk back in the day. That's when like PC gamers like that's when they got like the stereotype that they have now, like the sweaty mom's basement, like yellow stained pee underwear. Like that's no offense to the people that played those games, but that's what people thought of you back in the early 90s. Like you were just a dungeon dweller yourself that played these dungeon crawl games. Like you were playing like Diablo 1 on PC and just jacking off to the boobs of the devil woman or something. There's so much of that for Starfield, like in these Starfield groups, like these incel dudes that just like they have hard-ons for these video game characters.
Is that right?
Yeah, they'll just like they'll get like mods for like Big Butt Sarah or Big Butt Andrea, and like they'll post a picture in the group and be like, "Oh, look what I did! This is my favorite companion." And it's like the other dudes, like the other people in there, like rag on them a little bit, but it's like I started thinking, I was like, if that's what it takes to make the game fun for them, whatever. Like I don't care. It's not something I'm doing, but like whatever. Like teach his own.
That is
But
too
it's still
funny,
kind of
man.
fucking weird. It's like I do think it's weird, but I don't think it's like I'm not gonna go on and trash you on your post on the fucking. I'm just not gonna comment at all. Like I don't give a fuck.
Right, right. Why bother?
This one dude posted a fucking picture of this tower that he had. I was like, this reminds me of fucking Fallout 4. See how much we can build to crash our game.
All right. You want to do one more article, and then we will maybe wrap it up.
Yeah, that's fine if you want to.
This is a good one. So it doesn't pertain to anything that we've discussed tonight. This is a brand new article, but Stafford County authorities seized 35,000 fentanyl pills after package delivered to incorrect address. 26-year-old Dwayne Jones Jr. of Virginia was arrested after receiving a package containing 15,000 fentanyl pills that were mistakenly sent to the wrong address in Stafford County. Following the discovery, authorities executed a search warrant at Jones's residence on Torbert Loop on October 17th. Inside, they found an additional 20,000 fentanyl pills, 1.5 ounces of cocaine, over $47,000 in cash, and a loaded firearm located dangerously close to where a child slept. Jones faces multiple charges, including conspiring to traffic fentanyl, possession with intent to distribute fentanyl, and possession of a firearm while distributing fentanyl. Child Protective Services intervened, removing the child from the home, and Jones is currently held without bond at Rappahannock Regional Jail. Pretty crazy, man. So this guy only got busted because this package was delivered to the wrong address.
Yeah, that's wild. But what's more concerning is the neighbor opened his fucking mail.
Oh, dude, you're right.
That's illegal.
That is
Do you think
wrong.
they're not charging that person with a crime though, are they?
It didn't say, it didn't mention it.
Because isn't it a felony to like tamper with mail?
Yeah, it's a felony to tamper with mail, to tamper with a mailbox. It's all federal property.
So you got this person that checked the mail, opened someone else's package, but they're not going to face any charges. I don't care. Like maybe they did a good deed. Fentanyl
Yeah,
needs to go, but
that's what I'm saying. Let's be honest here. I mean, because of this, 35,000 fentanyl pills are now off the street. Thank God.
isn't that crazy? Like what you said though. Like that's the only way they found this. Like it's just because someone fucked up on shipping, or the delivery driver was probably high as a kite and took it to the wrong address.
It's just that is a stroke of horrible luck for that
Yeah,
guy.
people were fucked with fentanyl too, because that's something. It was kind of funny when you brought that article up, because I sent you that one about the Sinaloa cartel. The leaders of the like El Chapo, uh, I guess it's his sons that are in charge now. They're saying that anyone that's involved in the manufacture or transport of fentanyl is going to be killed pretty much. Like if they catch factions of the Sinaloa cartel trafficking fentanyl, they're going to kill them.
Yeah, so let's see here if I can go into depth with that. Come on, baby. So El Chapo Sinaloa drug cartel bars fentanyl production under penalty of death. Uh, the order came from Chapitos, the name for Guzman's son, who took over the operation. And this is a quote: in Sinaloa, the sale, manufacture, transport of any kind of business involving the substance known as fentanyl, including the sale of chemical products for its elaboration, is permanently banned, said one of several banners hung on billboards and overpasses in Culiacan. You have been warned, the message read. Sincerely yours, the Chapitos. U.S. law enforcement officials are skeptical about the decree and said the ban is expecting to do little to curb the fentanyl trade and could lead to an increase in heroin and cocaine trafficking.
Well, they're saying like the Sinaloa cartel is saying it, like the reason that they said it was in response to the government, like to the United States government, because apparently like we're really fucking cracking down on them for it too. So it's like, hey, let's just go back to cocaine.
Or just regular straight raw heroin.
Yeah, that's the problem with heroin though. Like that's why these junkies like it, because I mean, they want the fentanyl. That's that documentary I was telling you about. I think it's like Drugs Inc. or something I was watching. And that dealer that was in Baltimore, he was like, the junkies want the dope that's going to kill them. It's like the best high they can get. And they don't care that it like puts them right on like the edge of death.
Right.
But so I mean, I agree with the U.S. officials' assessment. It's going to do little because that's always been America's problem. Is where there's demand, there's always going to be supply. It's like they're talking about banning menthol cigarettes and the flavored vapes and all this. Like there's always going to be some, like you can make it illegal. Like look how long weed was illegal. Never stopped anybody. And them doing this, it's the Chinese are fucking poisoning us anyway. All that fentanyl is coming from fucking China. The Sinaloas don't want to move it. Someone else is going to move it. And that's dangerous to me for the Sinaloa cartel because what you're not going to do, you know, this new Jalisco is going to do or something like that. Another cartel is going to step in. The demand's not going anywhere. You know, it's the parents and the communities that are against the fentanyl, not the junkie. Do you find a follow up to it or something?
No, well, I'm reading another article about it that just shows pictures and videos and stuff like that, but it's nothing more than there's no more details than what we went over. It's
No,
just
okay.
kind of interesting. I mean, it's a shitload. I mean, God, I'm so thankful that it went to the wrong address because that is a lot going out on the street.
Yeah, 35,000 pills.
And it doesn't even take like what, just a little bit of dust to kill
Yeah.
you. Isn't that right?
Yeah, they're saying like just a little piece of it. Like
Yeah.
that capsule, just one pill is probably enough to kill 10 people.
Right. That's what I thought.
So I mean, yeah, that's good that they got it, man. Like such like by coincidence. But that's kind of like what I was saying earlier about the like the intelligence community and all that shit. Like a lot of what we find and a lot of crimes solved just by coincidence, you know?
Yeah, exactly. They're just
Like
in a lot of just by being lucky, officers being at the right place at the wrong time.
I think that it's just human nature. Like, and you know, I get into some conspiracies and the whole Alex Jones shit too. I think it's part of nature that we want there to be an explanation to everything.
Right.
Like there's gotta be a reason. We're maybe it's because it's like, why are we here? Maybe that's the ultimate like question. But that breeds into everything else. So like why like we it's so hard for humans to wrap their minds around that it's not fate, it's just chance. Like everything's chance. Maybe I'm right,
Coincidental.
maybe I'm wrong. But
Everything's purely coincidental.
and maybe we're wrong. Maybe it is some big puppet master.
So we can get to Stafford from Boonesboro, we can get to Stafford, Virginia in an hour and 42 minutes. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's not
mean,
far.
easily that shit could have came around this area.
That's where it was coming. Where do you it's fucking Baltimore, dude. DC, Baltimore. Baltimore's the fucking heroin hub of America.
Well, I wouldn't say it's of America. I would say it's one of
Pusha T.
the bigger
Pusha
ones of the
T.
East Coast.
What's he say in that song? Have you heard that song? What's it called? It's not If You Know, You Know. It's one of his other ones.
I don't know.
Interstate trafficking's alive. Push. But he's like, he says like Baltimore spoon or something, and like DC's glass pipe, like because of crack. Like pretty much he lists like the different, because I think he's from Virginia, Pusha T.
Right.
So he's just talking about like the corridor, but yeah, it's a fucking Baltimore. I'm gonna fucking Google that. Baltimore heroin capital.
While you're doing that, let me just go over this last article, and this really is the last article. For those of you that haven't seen this one, and this is a good one, apparently California governor signs a bill banning Skittles and other popular candies. And Dustin and I went over this one earlier in the podcast, but Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill effectively banning Skittles and other popular candy from sales within the state of California. The additives impacted with the signing of the bill include brominated vegetable oil, potassium bromate. I'm not even going to try to read some of these. And red dye 3. Now that the bill has become law, products with any of the aforementioned additives are unable to be manufactured, sold, delivered, distributed, held, or offered for sale in the state of California beginning January 1st, 2027. Now, I know this has nothing to do with heroin or Baltimore, but tell me that's not crazy, man.
What is, and a lot of those chemicals, like they say, because it like can like cancer causing is what they say.
Right.
I mean, it's 2023. Cancer's here. Like 1 in 3 people. 1 in 3 people, me, you, and the other man in the room, one of us getting cancer. Like, you know what causes cancer? Life causes cancer. So, I mean, like, there's people that have never smoked, never been around an environment breathing in anything from cancer causing, for specifically lung cancer, but they end up with lung cancer. How's that happen?
And think about all the stuff back in the day that we did, inhaled, put on our skin, put in our bodies, that we find out now in 2023 were huge for causing cancer. Well, what's it going to be in another 20, 30 years from now? It's going to be the same thing. The shoes we're wearing now, the toothpaste we're wearing, the stuff we put in our hair, the stuff we eat, we're going to find out what causes ovarian cancer. It causes pancreatic cancer. It's like, you're right. Life gives you cancer. I mean, for crying out loud, for the most part, we're all basically born with cancer. It's just when you're going to get it and what's going to cause it.
You know what? I'm pretty sure testing thermonuclear bombs by all the world's superpowers in the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, pretty sure that didn't help anything. You had the United States government trying to set the ionosphere on fire.
Exactly.
Like, we live here on this planet. Let's see if we can catch the fucking sky on fire.
Exactly.
Like, that's a great idea. Maybe that is what's causing like cancer and the rise of autism, Down syndrome, these what do they call chronic diseases and shit. And so, I'm not really worried about red dye 3. It's just, doesn't California have a migrant fucking problem? Because they're one of the sanctuary states and sanctuary cities, and they're one of the ones that are getting fucking huge influxes of illegal immigrants. And they're finally like, wait, we can't do this. Joe Biden, start building that wall that, was so racist and xenophobic. And now they're building the wall again. But, what's Newsom do? He's out there fucking banning Skittles and Peeps and Yoo-Hoo. Because that is the crux of that state's problems. Like, that's banning all these dyes is going to fix all of California's issues. Come on, dude. He's smarter than that. That's just like appeasing the fucking soccer moms in California that live in fucking Beverly Hills and shit. that feed their kids fucking 100% organic soy boy shit. Fuck California, dude. When is that? Tool had that song, Mom's Gonna Make It All Right Again. And fucking California, he said, see you down in Arizona Bay. He's pretty much talking about like when the earthquake comes and California falls off the fucking continent and becomes a fucking part of the sea. Like, come on, dude. Fuck California. Like, I would love to be there for the weather and shit, but man, they are fucking out there. That weather did something to their goddamn brains. But maybe that's like, maybe going back to, that's like what I was saying about like the execs at like Nintendo, Microsoft, all this. Like, the people that live in California have it way too good. Like the ones that are important, the ones with the money and shit. So they're just so out of touch with reality. It's like, don't you have a fucking homeless crisis in San Francisco? People shitting in the streets. Come on, dude. It's ban Skittles. There's more important things to do. You got to figure out how you're going to pay the reparations to all those people that you said the slavery reparations that you fucking signed into law.
Well, in Europe, a lot of these have already been banned. In fact, apparently we're kind of behind on it. This is a quote. There have been many misconceptions about this bill and its impacts. For example, attached to this message is a bag of popular candy, Skittles, which became the face of this proposal. Newsom's statement reads, this particular bag of candy comes from the European Union, a place that already bans a number of chemical additives and colorants. This is demonstrable proof that the food industry is capable of maintaining product lines while complying with different public health laws country to country.
Yeah, I mean, they have been banned, but I don't know.
In addition to Skittles, red dye number 3 is also currently found in Pez, hot tamales, and double bubble gum. Brominated vegetable oil is typically found in citrus soft drinks. None of the companies that produce the above candies have offered a statement on the new law.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Europe's progressive, but look at the shape Europe's in. What? The fucking Greeks. They're one of the worst countries. I mean, in the world. Spain has its issues. Like, I don't. It's just like there are different things that you could be doing as a lawmaker and a governor. That's my main thing with it. Like, is it important? Maybe, but is it important right now? When you have the amount of population that you have that are homeless, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, why was this the initiative? That's my biggest. Like, I could give a fuck less. Like, they're always banning shit, or the FDA's revising. Like, it's like what you said. What are we going to revise in 10, 15, 20 years from now to find out that, hey, it had a negative impact or something, and that all goes back to like, yeah, this causes cancer, but hairspray caused a huge hole in the ozone and we were all going to burn alive by 1992. In 1992, it's like this alarmism, like the History Channel documentary that said that there was going to be a huge influx of migration from America to Mexico in the mid to late 2010s because of global warming and rising sea levels. Like, has that fucking happened yet? No. Like, it's I don't know. It's silly, It's just silly shit to me. He's a fucking idiot. I hope he doesn't run for president ever, because he's got a good chance of winning. He's a smooth talking son of a bitch. But he's going to get there on the national. Like, that's going to be his campaign slogan. We ban Skittles. Vote for Newsom.
He knows the right things to say.
Yeah, he's a fucking politician for sure. He's a smart guy. He knows how to talk. And he's going to debate fucking Ron DeSantis. That's coming up, I think. Him debating Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is a dipshit for taking that. Like, why? He's not running. What? Like, why? What are you gaining from that? That's another. Like, it's just, they're all so fucking out of touch, dude. They're so stupid. Both parties. Ban Skittles, ban abortions. Like, just let people do what the fuck they want to do. How about that for a change? Like, let people make their own fucking decisions. in their own lives and deal with the consequences of that. Because the right and the left are both the same. They both just want they want to tell you what to do, but this side wants to tell you what to do this way, and this side wants to tell you what to do this way. And they all know better than you because you're stupid and pay your taxes so we can send fucking bombs to bomb kids in Africa and Iraq. Fucking Skittles, red dye 3. Get the fuck out of here, you dipshit. That's how I feel about that. That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that.
So yeah, I think we're ready to wrap up, man. We did a long fucking show today.
Yeah, a lot to cover, a lot to go over.
We miss a week and we come back and do a show that's like almost 2 hours.
You know what? We were talking about Lex Friedman and John Carmack. That's who I thought that you were talking about at first, but he's not even with Bethesda. But John Carmack, he was one of the original creators of the Doom series and Wolfenstein and all that other shit. He did and he's a big nerd, and you know Lex is a big nerd too. Yeah. You know how long their podcast was together?
How long?
5 hours, dude.
Holy shit! Did he do it in 2 parts?
5 hours? No, it's all one.
Jeez.
I was gonna watch it, and I'm like, dude, I don't have enough hours this week to dedicate to that. You know, even like, it's just. But they're both like. I know it's going to sound fucked up. They're both geeks, man. You put 2 geeks in a room together, they're not going to get bored, you know?
Yeah.
It's the truth. They're not. And especially not Lex. And Lex is like a super geek. John Carmack is like a mega geek. But anyway, I just thought it was funny. Thought you ought to check it out. I watched a little bit of it, but I'll never be able to watch the whole thing.
Well, he's like super deep into like that whole nerd, like I'm looking at his Wikipedia page, like open source software and
yeah, he's big. He's developing that shit, and he was a big proponent and a big developer for all this new VR technology too.
Yeah, he was the president or CEO of something of Oculus for a while, wasn't
he? Yep. He's been on Rogan before too.
Yeah, I think I listened to that, but I didn't like it's Joe Rogan is just like I've listened to. I've probably listened. He's what 2000 now. Probably listened to at least 1,000 of his episodes. I've been listening to him since fucking 2010.
Right.
So it's just like I don't even know who the fuck I listen to. Like on his show, I've forgotten more people than I remember. So I've probably forgotten more Joe Rogan episodes than some people have listened to. Same with Alex Jones. So on that note, I don't know. I was going to go somewhere with that, but it just kind of went.
That's okay, brother. It happens.
Yeah. I was going to go into an Alex Jones. Like, I've never watched this show to the complete end to where he sends it off into the sunset. So.
Oh, really? I have.
Yeah.
But he's rarely ever the last person on the show. Like, and especially the newer episodes, he always passes the mic off to somebody. So you rarely ever get like an Alex Jones good night, you know, type of deal. Maybe the older ones, but yeah, he just tries to fill every second, every hour of his show. So more times than not, he'll just pass it off to someone else. Like who was his buddy, Paul Joseph Watson for the longest time, and then Owen Troyer, who I guess is going to be going to jail soon.
That sucks. Well, I don't know that, bro. But thinking of that though, real quick, since we talked about him a good bit this episode, get past all the reptilian shit and look up David Icke.
Yeah.
David Icke, however you would say it, and listen to what he talks about how you're being programmed and shit like that. Like, don't pay attention because I think that's absolutely batshit crazy how the royal family are reptilians from fucking Venus or whatever, and they're trying to take over civilization. Saturn. And like the draconians and shit. And yeah, all that. So that get away from that, but listen to his message about how, and if you just want to get like a brief little piece of what he says, listen to it's not Immortal Technique. It is Vinnie Paz, The End of Days, because the intro to that song, the intro to End of Days is like a 30-second clip of David Icke talking about how we're being programmed and people like you're being told what to think and how to think by the people that run the world. So
it's Vinny Paz, and he's from Jedi Mind Tricks.
Jedi Mind Tricks. Yeah. Vinny Paz, that was like Ill Bill, Mortal Technique, Vinny Paz, and all them Necro.
Yeah. Yeah, Jedi Mind Tricks fucking awesome. Vinny Paz is too. Shit, I definitely get down to that shit.
Army of the Pharaohs and all that shit.
Yeah, now I didn't go too crazy into that. That was still kind of new when I started listening to Jedi Mind Tricks, but I heard they're good. They're all conspiracy guys, man. That's just,
yeah.
I mean, that's what they rap about.
Well, Necro's more like horrorcore, like crazy ass violent rap, but like Ill Bill, he has that song Babylon and shit. And,
yeah.
But yeah, Vinny Paz, whatever his fucking name is, Immortal Technique and all those. Immortal Technique's like a hardcore fucking Marxist though. Like it's a little fucking concerning.
Yeah, well, they're all kind of weird in a way.
Well, even Vinny Paz is like Muslim and shit.
Yeah, he is Muslim. He wears like the kufi cap and everything.
The enemy's not Saudi. The enemy's around me. No, pretty sure extreme Islam is the enemy, but
we'll save that for another episode.
Yep. All right, boys and girls, we appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, follow us on all of our channels, YouTube's, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever new one comes out that I fucking find that's in the corners of the internet, I might sign up for. Maybe I'll even sign up for the communist WeChat on China. We'll get this shit broadcasted to Chinese. But
and if you're interested in filling our advertising slot at the beginning of the show, please contact us on facebook.com/UBEC Podcast. Anybody that wants free promotion, a free shout out. I don't care if you own a power washing business, if you're a taxi driver in Baltimore City, hit us up, send us a message on the Facebook, and tell us all the information that you want to add, and we will put you in the opening segment like we have done with a few others. Reach out and let us know. Dustin, anything else?
Just a segue on that, guys, don't forget, no matter what it is, Joe Rogan's first sponsor was the Fleshlight.
Yeah, right.
So we'll take anything.
Yeah, that's the truth. There's no company we're too good for unless you're promoting something malicious or super dangerous. But
yeah, if you're a representative from NAMBLA, don't reach out to us.
Oh my God. Yeah, don't even watch the show.
Yeah, just go and hang yourself in the bathroom.
Yeah, die.
But all right, guys, it's been real. Appreciate you guys watching. Talk to you later.
Peace.